Hello everybody, how are you all doing today? It is now Friday, February 16, about 7 p.m. and we're going to do Bitcoin technical analysis evening update. And I won't be too long in this video because there's a lot of updates, but there's not too much of an update. So we're going to try to get through it as fast as we possibly can. So the first thing that I always do is, other than tell you guys to upvote my stuff on Steam, which I appreciate, and make sure you also like, subscribe, and share. You guys need to follow me on Twitter if you're not already, because I post a lot of goodies on there, and I try to also entertain a lot as well, just to make it very fun in crypto. So the first thing that we should always do is do a candlestick analysis, right? So let's take a look at all these candles over here. What we noticed in the last week's candlestick close here is that it finished off with a weekly huge doji, right, that rejected to the bottom side. And this candlestick right here, what we actually see is a big green candle, lots of volume, right? Beautiful. So far in the week, we've gone up from $8,000 to $10,300. So we couldn't have asked for a better formation for these candlesticks, right? And then let's take a look at the daily chart here as well now. So that weekly candle, by the way, it actually ended up setting the pace, bouncing off of the 55 EMA, which was a great sign. And right here, right now, on the daily, we're starting to see the volume slowly fade off from yesterday. Yesterday's volume really wasn't the best at all. Let me just pull up my coin market cap here very quickly so we can do a recap of this. So yesterday, we did, let's see here. Okay. So yesterday we did $9 billion, right? And the day before we did about 7.9. So the volume has been slowly going up, but in the past few hours, actually, we've been getting pretty low in the volume. We've now gone down to about $7.1 billion, and the market cap is almost $500 billion. I think 500 billion will be a very psychological number, and I think eventually soon there will be more money that will come into the market. So what we're seeing here is a series of higher highs throughout the days, right? We're closing with a higher high. Yesterday was a pretty decent close, I would say. Let's go to a 12-hour chart here. We're bouncing now, finally, off of the 55 EMA. We had a lot of resistance here, but what we see is a lot of volume diminishing, right? Or sorry, we're slowly losing volume. Despite us crossing over almost, the 55 EMA is supporting it, but what we really want is we want the 55 moving average to be below all of them right now. So if we look at the 12-hour candle right here, or sorry, the 6-hour candle, this right here signal people taking profit. We're getting these massive rejections coming down, and because we're getting these rejections right here, a small correction ended up happening right over here. So let's go into high detail about what's going on the MACD as well. We're seeing it uptrend. Beautiful. We're seeing this type of resistance right over here. I think that if we can break around the 60-70 RSI, we can get into some pretty bullish zones right now. On a lower time frame, we're definitely bouncing off of there. That's a beautiful sign. There's definitely no way we can complain about this whatsoever, right? Looks pretty good to me, I would say, so far. Now let's do a more in-depth analysis by taking a look at my previous charts that I have opened up here already. What I mentioned was that we have a critical resistance point between 10,500 and also 10,000 and 10,500. Now, I'm not sure if my count is actually valid, so I'm going to change up my count a little bit. I don't think that this one's valid anymore. I think that this is a third wave right here. And I do think that we might end up pushing for a higher point right here. So let's just say that we ended up getting a slightly higher, we break it, right? Let's say this is possible, right? Just assume that if this was actually wave 3, and this was all of this is all wave 3, and this is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have a 5th wave coming up here, then we should expect a correction sometime coming very soon. And that, we don't know exactly when or how deep it's going to go. But what we can say is that this is a good support range right here. It's a good support range because there's this relevant point that acted as a support. There's this point right here, which was a resistance that now acts as a support as well. And we also got a third very relevant point between 9,500 and 9,700 here. So with our support range 2, we're taking points. This is very subjective, by the way. Some people would call this a B point, right? Some people would not call that a B point, and they would actually call this one right here. So it's very subjective, but regardless of how we look at it, point 1 has absolutely formed. And this is a really ugly impulse wave up. From any Elliott wave, analysts would agree that this is probably one of the ugliest Elliott waves that we have seen in a long time for an impulse move up. But we like to work with what we have, right? So if we work with what we have, it'll give us a better idea of what is to come as well. So if we look at this as 1, 2, and a possible 3 somewhere, okay? Excuse me there. A possible 3 somewhere. I'm not really sure where exactly, but if with this wave 3 were to actually finish, I'm probably going to guess around $10,800 is where it could possibly hit, just based on the momentum that it has right now. We actually did break the previous high as well of 10,270, which is awesome. Right now, as we speak, it is signaling a rally, right? So how much higher can this wave 3 be? That is a big question as well. So if I do, for example, my trend-based fib extension right here, right, we see wave 3 hit about the 1618 level right here. So it would make sense for us to gauge somewhere between 10,000. This is a pretty wide range right here, I know, guys, but we're talking about anywhere between 10,800 all the way up to 10,500. I'm not really sure how else I can predict that. I see this as a major trend line support right now, where wave 4 could possibly retrace back to the 9,500. Now, I want to bring up a really important point, okay? Let's go to our daily chart. Now, the reason why we ended up going up this high and just dropping back down is simple. Is because we went from 10K or 8K to, for example, right here, about 6K ranges, and then we just shot up like a rocket, right? And we didn't really have any resistance anywhere. And because there was no pullback whatsoever, it would have been nice if we got like a 10K range and then pulled back to maybe 7K. That would have been great. Or even 12K and then pulled back to 10K, because on the way down, we could have found some support on the way down. But because that didn't happen, we had to find support in different regions. So I'm not really a big fan of the way it went up because, well, it ended up just dropping like a rock, right? So we're just using some very relevant points. And the point that I'm making is that we find support where resistance was, and we find support where support was recently as well. So I still stand by my analysis that if wave failure does occur and this trend line does break, well, it might imply that we get a failure in the wave, but I can't really see it breaking this support trend line right over here. And because I'm targeting, for example, on this wave, 161.8, which hit for wave 3, it also makes sense for us to also hit right around these regions. Say, you know what, I'm going to change this right here. If wave 5 target is between 10,000, I'm going to say 750 to 11,200. It's just a very, very general range that I'm using, which is about right here, 10,800, and possibly up to 10.5, but I can't really see it getting that high yet. Now, what I would like to see is a pullback. I know you guys might not want to hear that, but we need to have some sort of correction, in my opinion, for us to make higher highs. It just has to happen, guys. And this wave 5 is honestly to be entirely determined. But if I had to project wave 5, we are getting a massive resistance right here, right? A sloped resistance coming down that way. So we're obviously going to hit some sort of resistance, in my opinion, right around here, okay? We're going to hit a resistance somewhere there. And then what I would like to see is, first of all, a pullback here. And then I would like to hit a relevant point up there. And let's see if our Fibonacci retracement tool or extension tool can actually give us a good gauge of how high that could get. Okay, well, if this one here hit higher than a one-to-one extension already, okay, because I'm a very conservative trader, maybe this wave 5 could possibly go up to around this range. So this one right here is very difficult to tell. So I'm just going to guess that it's most likely going to break out of there and hit somewhere in between these regions, just based on using Fibonacci extension. And that wave 3 is the longest and is often the longest and never the shortest. So if we break this trend line resistance right here at around 11.5, which I don't think we're going to break it for this specific wave 5 right here. I really don't think we're going to break it. I think that we're going to land between 10,750 to 10,200, and then we're going to get a big correction. And then the correction is going to come in a Fibonacci level, most likely along that trend line. So we're probably going to get a retracement to possibly the 0.5 region, who knows, possibly the 382, but most likely along this trend line right here. And then we'll get a final fifth wave that could possibly go up anywhere between, I'm guessing, geez, these are really hard targets to guess, right? I don't think higher than 13K, that's the truth. I think it'll most likely go at the highest to about 12,500 and probably a minimum of about 11,800 just for these types of ranges here. So there's really not much of an update other than it was kind of expected right now what is going on. The only thing I did wrong was I projected that there would be a bigger pullback, right? And the pullback ended up being very little, which now reaffirms that this is wave 4 coming down and there's actually one more wave going up. So this one is to be determined. I do believe it will fall in between the 10,750 and 10,200 range right here, okay? So that's definitely going to be my range. And then my range of a correction will be anywhere between 9,700 to, 9,000, I'm going to say right around here, 9,500, so we'll say 9,500 to 9,100 ranges right there. Or 9,500 to 10,000, okay? I apologize if I'm a little bit not making too much sense right now. It's been a really long day. So this makes sense, right guys? So just to give a quick recap, we got a major support zone right over here. 10,740 to 9,074. And then the next support range will be right here between 10,500 and 10,000. I'm completely saying this wrong. I apologize. Support range 1 is 9,500 and $10,000. And this target is likely to hit between 10,750 and 11,200. And then I expect a pullback to a reasonable Fibonacci level along this trend line right here. That would have set us up to get a possible higher high. And I don't know if we're going to break out of this massive trendline resistance that's been established for a long time now. So we're going to have to play it by ear, day by day, almost hour by hour. And then most likely the wave 3 will end up somewhere in here. And then we'll get a big pullback that will eventually break this channel. Or not channel, but break this trendline support right there. So these are my quick thoughts. I don't have too much to say other than that I do predict 10,750 to 11.2 around those ranges, then a pullback to between 9,500 to 10,000, and then we will most likely try to make our way up to the 11,800 to 12,500 ranges. And I'll be sure to provide you guys with my charts as well. I apologize if it's not the kind of video you're looking for where there's really awesome news, but you know what? I think we're due for an uptrend, and we're also due for a correction very soon. But because we broke the 10,271 range and we're now all the way close to 10,500, well, it could signal that there's one last bull run left right now. So what's my bias? Long term is still bullish. Medium term, it's starting to become a lot more bullish. Short term, slightly neutral, I would say, bullish to almost bearish. Once we finish this correction and reach my targets, I do believe that we are going to be in a slightly bearish market, very short term though, but not too long. So make sure you guys go to my Steemit where you can upvote the material and find these charts there, where I'd appreciate that you guys like, subscribe, and share the material as well. Other than that, have yourselves a great night, baby whales, and thank you very much for watching this video. Bye now.